So to start this off, we're going to grab our category 3 yarn and we're going to make a magic circle. So how we do that is take our pointer and our middle finger, wrap our yarn twice around those two fingers, pinch it with our ring finger and our thumb, grab our 4mm hook, go ahead and insert in between those two fingers that we have, go ahead and pull the yarn that's closest to the hook underneath the furthest one, and we're going to pinch everything that's on the hook, and then we're going to hold our yarn same way that we always hold it. And then from here, we're going to chain up 3 to secure, and this also counts as a double crochet. So now that we have our first chain 3, we're going to do 2 more double crochet into the center loop. So in total, counting our chain up 3, we have 3 double crochet. We're going to chain 2, then we're going to do 3 double crochet into the center loop. We're going to do another chain 2. And once we have these 2 guys, we're going to do this 3 more times. So in total, we will have 5 sets of 3 double crochet, chain 2. And once we have our 5, we're going to pull on our tail end so that our circle can cinch in, and then we're going to connect it with a slip stitch. And how we do that, we're going to count up 3 for the first chain 3 that we did, and then we're going to connect it into the 3rd loop with a slip stitch. And from here, what we're going to do is chain up 3. This counts as a double crochet. Prepare for a double crochet. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet into the same loop that we're in, and then we're going to be putting 1 double crochet into every loop that we have until we have 5 double crochets next to each other. So here we have 4, and then we're going to do 1 into the loop that we have. So go ahead and count this out. We should have 5, chain 2, and then we're going to do this again. So go ahead and prepare for a double crochet, insert it into that big loop once, do the 3 loops that we have, and then once into the outer loop, chain 2, and then keep doing that until we get all the way around. Once we made it here on our second round, we're going to connect with a slip stitch just like how we did before. So remember, go ahead and count up 3 on that chain 3 that we originally did for this round. Insert our hook into that 3rd loop with a slip stitch. And from here, depending on what size you need, you can go ahead and keep making more rounds, but this is the size that I need, so I'm going to go ahead and chain up 1 and cut. Once we have this, go ahead and make as many as you need, and I went ahead and made 14 of these. So once we have our 14, I went ahead and laid it out the way that I want it to look. And from here, I have 4 layers, and the top 2 layers are going to be connected first, and then the bottom 2 layers, and they're going to be connected the same way, and then we're going to go ahead and connect them in the middle. So since we're going to work on the top 2 layers first, we're going to get rid of these bottom layers. So from here, I'm going to remove these 2, and then I'm just going to flip these over and then connect this side, making sure that the pretty sides are facing each other so that the seams are on the inside. So once we have that, we're going to insert our hook into one of the corners, grab our yarn, make a slip knot, insert it onto our hook, and then go ahead and pull that through, chain 1 to secure. And from here, we're just going to be working along one side, making sure that our hook goes in through both sides of our granny patch. So just to show you, we're going to go inside the first loop, and then go inside the first loop for the second granny patch, and then single crochet. Let's do that one more time. Insert our hook in through the first one, insert our hook in through the second one, and then single crochet it all together. And keep doing this until we get to the other corner. So this is what we should have so far. Now we're going to take our other granny patch, and then we're going to connect it down this way. Then we're going to do the same thing. So we're just going to flip this over and then connect it with a single crochet, making sure that the pretty sides are touching each other. So this is what we should have so far. We've connected 3 of them together, and then this is the first granny patch for the first row, and this is the second row. And from here, the second row granny patches do need to be connected. So once we have our second one going, we're not going to cut and tie yet. All we're going to do is just insert our hook through the bottom granny patches just to connect them. So from here, we're just going to insert our hook in through those and then single crochet just like before. And before we cut and tie, I will show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like now instead of having the gaps separate them. But once we get here, go ahead and chain up 1 and cut. So I'm pretty sure that y'all got the gist of it. So go ahead and continue to do the rest of what we have for the first 2 rows. So this is what we should have so far. We have our top 2 layers, and now we're going to be working on the bottom 2. So we're just going to lay out where we want our bottom 2 layers to be. Once we have this, go ahead and connect them the same way that we did the top 2 layers. So now that we have our 2 layers finished separately, now we're just going to connect it. But right before we do that, we're going to do a row of single crochet across the tops and the bottom just to make it easier to connect. So we're just going to work from the top really quick, and then we're going to insert a hook into one of the corners. We're going to grab our yarn, make a slip knot, insert it onto our hook, pull it through, chain up 1 to secure. And then from here, we're going to single crochet once into every loop that we have until we get to the next corner. So once we single crocheted across the bottom, now we're going to need to connect it, and we're just going to do a simple chain. And the length of your chain is going to depend on the gap that you have in between your two granny patches. And the gap that I have in between my two granny patches is 1 inch, so I'm going to go ahead and chain out that length. And then once when you have that, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have these little gaps in between all of them. But once when you have that chain, you're going to go ahead and insert your hook into the next granny patch, single crochet across, and then do the same thing on the other side. And you're going to do that for the tops and the bottoms for all of the sections that we have. So once when you finish doing basically a border around both top layer and bottom layer, now we're just going to connect it, and we're just going to connect it with a single crochet. But from here, we're just going to align it, see where we like it. This is an eyeball thing. You can go ahead and put it wherever you like. But from here, we're just going to flip this over like how we've been doing, making sure that the pretty sides are touching each other. We're going to insert our hook into one of the sides, and then also insert our hook into the bottom layer. Take our yarn, make a slip knot, insert it onto our hook, and chain up 1 to secure. And from here, go ahead and put 1 single crochet going all the way down until you get to the end. Once when you get to the end, go ahead and cut and tie. So this is what it looks like once when both layers are connected. And from here, we're going to do a border around the entire thing. So go ahead and insert your hook into one of the corners. Grab your yarn, make a slip knot, insert it onto our hook, pull it through, and chain 1 to secure. And then from here, we do have these gaps. You're going to go ahead and measure that out. Mine are 3 inches, and then make a chain that reaches from one corner of the gap to the next. Once when you have your chain, you're going to go into this next corner just with a simple single crochet. And then we're going to do that for all of these bigger gaps that we have. Once we get to the bottom, single crochet along the bottom, and then on the other side, do the gaps as well. And then I'll meet you once when we have that done. And just as a quick side note, once when we get to the corners, it's going to depend on how big you made your granny patches, but we're going to want to make a corner. And for me, I measured mine out. Mine is going to equal out to 2 inches. And then once when we have that done, we're going to single crochet down the bottom, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So once we've gone around the entire top with a single crochet border, now we're just going to do some little mini scallops all the way around. So from here, we're going to do a single crochet into the first loop. We're going to chain up 3. We're going to insert our hook into the first chain that we did with a slip stitch, and then we're going to single crochet into the next chain that we have. And this is what we should have. And from here, we're going to single crochet into the next 2 loops, chain up 3, slip stitch into the first chain that we made, and then single crochet into the base chain. And we're going to keep doing this until we get to the corner, and I'll show you how to do that. Once we made it to this bottom corner portion, we're going to count out, see how many chains that we have, and then we're going to figure out where the middle is. And then we're going to keep doing these mini scallops until we get to that middle portion. Once we made it to the middle, I do already have 1 single crochet into the middle loop because I just finished doing a mini scallop, and all we're going to do is do an increase of 3. So since we already have 1 single crochet, we're just going to do 2 more single crochet. And then from here, it'll just make it a little bit easier so that it can start to turn. And from here, go ahead and continue doing mini scallops all the way around the entire top. So we just made it all the way around with our mini scallops, and once we made it to the end, go ahead and connect with a slip stitch, chain up 1, and cut. And then from here, go ahead and insert your hook into any of the corners that we have to make the neck straps or the back straps. And each of my straps are just going to be a regular chain, and they're going to come out to 18 inches. And once when you have all your straps, go ahead and weave in all of your ends. And when we're done weaving in all the ends, this is our finished piece. I love this top so much. I hope it was as fun for you to make as it was for me to come up with it. And if we all recreate this piece, be sure to tag me on both Instagram and Twitter at TCDDIY. And if you haven't already, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And lastly, if y'all have any questions about the yarn or hooks in this video, links are in the description. And if you use those links, I get a little kickback, which also happens to help out the channel. But either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.